So part 5, I think this is the last part, hopefully. So basically they said there was this huge problem and they might need to cancel the cycle, but it was up to us. They had never seen the kind of fluid that they were seeing in her uterus. They had never seen before. So they didn't know what to tell us. And of course the clinic was closing early that day. So they said we had 3 hours to decide if we should transfer our baby or if we should cancel and try again around Christmas about 3 months later. They also even said, this is a less than perfect habitat. Maybe you should be putting in the girl embryo from the first round of IVF that had some flags, the not so perfect embryo with the not so perfect habitat. So everything was...
so that if we lose it, at least we didn't lose our best embryo.
Yeah, so everything was on the table again. And Travis is at work at this point. Brandy and I had gone to this appointment together. And I remember Brandy and I talking afterwards, and she just looked at me and she said, Tori, I wouldn't be offering this if I knew my body didn't work. My body always knows what to do with pregnancy. Trust in my body. And that, for me, made me want to definitely transfer the next day. It was just a matter of who to transfer. So Travis and I actually disagreed on what we should do, and we had to actually compromise just the biggest decision of our lives.
Was it a compromise? I just remember you called me in the middle of work.
It kind of was.
I had to step out of a meeting, and you were just hysterical, over what to do.
Yeah, I mean.
And I was like, all right, so if it's I was just trying to be it's just, cut and dry, unemotional about it as you can be. I was like, if it's an unideal environment, we've come too far, sacrificed too much at this point to throw it all away. So let's just not do it. And you're like, no. Obviously, Brandy had gotten to, so then I was
I agree with Brandy.
So I was like, okay, then we'll put in then to give us our highest possible chance, let's put in our strongest embryo. Whereas I think you were leaning towards what the doctor said, maybe go with the weaker one so that if it doesn't work, it doesn't work.
Yeah, it's true. I was leaning towards let's go tomorrow, let's put in the girl with the flags. Travis was let's cancel, let's put in the boy around Christmas.
No, let's cancel.
Cancel, and we'll try again and put the boy in at a different date, probably around Christmas. And so basically in my mind, we compromised on timeline and who we put in. So we went the next day. We did transfer the next day. That was my win, and his win was we put in the boy with no flags and just hoped that we were not throwing away our best embryo.
So we get into the room during the transfer, and it's a big ceremony. All the doctors are there, and it's I don't know, kind of weird in that regard, I guess. But they go in, and all the fluid issues, all of the, I don't know, unideal environment flags were gone.
Just magically gone.
Yeah, it was perfect environment at that point. It just flipped a switch overnight. She just needed 24 more hours to clear up whatever the issues were, I guess.
There were 3 different miracles that happened that day. That was miracle number 1, that the fluid in the uterus was gone. The second miracle that day was they said they have to thaw the embryos before the transfer. And they said, since we thawed the boy this morning, he's hatched. Which in IVF, this is great. This is everything. This means that the baby is sticky, has totally essentially broken out of the outer cell wall, and he's looking to imminently implant on a uterus, in a uterus.
It's pretty rare that happens before the transfer. So
he went from an A rank to just an A plus rank. He was just the best situation you could ever ask for, and now we had this ideal environment. So we all were in scrubs. Brian, her husband, Brandy on the table with the doctor, Travis and I in scrubs. They have music playing. I think it was Jason Mraz, 'cause I'm happy. And we were just
oh yeah, that's right.
It was just it was this really cool moment. And, after you've been through this process and it's just horrible moment after awful experience, after you can't believe this happened to you, then to get this one really cool moment of most people don't get to see life start, and we got to. I will always remember Brandy, deep in prayer, she's a woman of faith, and the smile on her face when they were doing the transfer, they just essentially inject him in some fluid right up into her uterus, and right on the ultrasound you can see the little dot where he was. And I just was like sitting on Travis's lap while he was holding me, and
There wasn't any seating.
Yeah, there was one there was one spot, so I kind of had to, but I just kept whispering thank you to Brandy, because there are never enough thank yous or hugs or anything in the world when you're an intending parent talking to your surrogate, and she knows that. So long story short, the transfer worked.
Yeah, we went back to their place for like lunch, and like within a couple hours, she was already having cramps.
And that was miracle number 3. She had implantation cramping right away, and that basically let us know that he was taking. And we did some home pregnancy tests about 4 days later, and we got a positive. And then we went into the clinic a couple weeks later, and we did a blood test, and she had great betas, which means there's hormone in her blood saying, yep, she's pregnant. And right now she is 8 weeks pregnant with our son.
And going strong.
And doing great. And he's due June 17th on Father's Day. And we've already named him, or Tegan's already named him. And so that's where we are in our surrogacy story. With Brandy, as I said, I've always called her my unicorn. And I've always said, thank you for choosing to be a unicorn when you didn't have to be. In life, if you get the opportunity to be a unicorn for someone, because it could change their world. And so we're just hoping to sort of pay that forward here. And maybe there's one family that this awareness helps, or one woman that she realizes that maybe she can do surrogacy, because normal people can do it. It's not just Kim Kardashian and Perez. It is an option for people facing infertility, whether that be you don't have any kids, or in our case, secondary infertility, where you were able to have a kid and then you're so confused as to why your body won't let you have more. But both of those are real struggles, and both of them need real awareness. So we appreciate you taking the time, and we wish you the best in your documentary. Thanks, Charles.
See you, Charles.